Well, hello everybody, the Real Ducky here, and I'm just getting started up. In just a moment, I'm going to try to get some of the other items here enabled. In other words, the camera for one. You guys should be seeing that now. Let me know if you can hear me okay, by the way, in the chat. Hey Nintendo, welcome to the stream. Hopefully the chat doesn't go too crazy that I miss everybody. I want to try to say hello to everyone. Oh hey, I'm on the server, which is actually my personal server. So it's loud enough. That's good. Let me just bring the mic in a little bit closer here. I have way too much stuff on my desk. Do. I also like how I'm still moving even though I'm working on the microphone. Alright, so let's get some more people in here. Let's see where we're at. We've got a few watching now. And I figure what we'll do in this stream, and hopefully everybody will get a chance to see it, because obviously I'm going to archive this here on the channel, is kind of give a brief overview of what I've completed already here in the parks, and also what the future mission is going to be, and some of the other items that I've been kind of thinking about the past few days, especially yesterday after a quick visit to the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios. Really had a good time yesterday, and I want to thank, by the way, Cact, also known as the Dr. Fire Meow Mix, whatever it was, I don't remember. Honestly, it's Darren, former owner or current owner, I guess, still with Ryan of MC Parks, one of the other Disney-themed Minecraft servers. He was kind enough to get me into the parks yesterday, so hey Ace Arcade, hello Amids, and SK5 as well, welcome to the stream. So yeah, Darren was kind enough to get me to the parks yesterday because I've been kind of like itching to go for, I think it's been about a year. I don't know, it's been a long time since I'd been, and I really wanted another chance to get out to the parks, so. And you guys can fire any questions you want if there's any curiosities that you know, things that you're not, maybe you're not clear on when it comes to doing this. I know there's been some confusion, I suppose, with, well, what are you doing that's any different than you did before? Or what are you doing different that everybody else isn't already doing? And, you know, questions like that. Happy to answer those. I'll answer those while you guys kind of think of your own questions, though. So, number one question is, why are you doing this again? It's been almost 2 years, as you guys know, about a year and a half since I left MC Magic. And gave it over to the folks at the other server there. And I had some time away. I mean, you know, I had talked to my friend Ant Venom, and he and I both agreed I just kind of needed to get away from everything for a little while. Maybe focus on me for a bit. And that turned out to be pretty amazing. I mean, in the past year, I've done so much that I wouldn't have been able to do had I stayed with the server. I would have been kind of locked down to doing things just server related. And the biggest part of that is me opening / starting my own actual formal business. In the past, I was doing side work for, you know, websites and web design and graphic design. But it was never on an official capacity. It was mostly, you know, if you pay me through PayPal, I'll get your stuff done for you. But I actually registered a real business in the state of Florida and have been running that for quite a while now, making some pretty decent money. And I'm wandering around the park here in the entrance just waiting for more people to, oh my god, it's Chewy. More people like that to log in. And I think it's getting pretty good now. Where are we at? Let me look at the numbers and see where we're at on, wow, we're getting quite a few numbers in there. So good, yeah, keep showing up and maybe you guys should tweet out that we're doing this. I haven't had a chance yet to throw it up on the official Twitter. It was supposed to be scheduled tonight at 8, so I want to apologize to those people that were here waiting and waiting and waiting. I got some big news tonight that I was accepted into the Screen Actors Guild for some work I've done. So I'm really excited about that, and I kind of had to quote unquote celebrate slash deal with that. Anyway, so going back to the server, how is it going to be any different would be the other question. I think part of what you're seeing here is how it's going to be different. Um, you know, when we went to, let me see if it's even available. Oh no, I shut the server down, and I don't want to go over there and switch everything on because then you guys will see my server console, and yeah, we don't want IPs getting out there for people. I already got in trouble for that once. Anyway, so looking at this is a good example. So this is something simple and dumb. It's just the monorail station at the Magic Kingdom. The old one was it was essentially a square building that didn't have this level of detail. And what I did, for instance, all these poles like here, I went through and counted in the real building how many of these poles existed in real life and matched that number to here. And then as well the details like, you know, the arches going over and so on. All of these blocks on the ground, so these lines that go kind of like at an angle, all of those lines with that specific material, the brick here, all of that is realistic to the parks as they exist today. The one thing I do have to do is right here, there's now a new exit point which kind of exits right here, which is built as part of the new fire exits that were added to this. So we'll get to another point later where I've got to show you where I've got to put in the new Tron ride, or at least kind of gauge where it's going to go back there in Tomorrowland. But again, to give, you know, that's just an idea of some of the details. Let me just fly up here and give you an idea of, like, every block on this had to be placed by hand. I did not do any world edit. In other words, I couldn't just copy paste this because of the weird angle that it's on, because I'm trying to build it exactly as it is in real life. And it actually doesn't look bad. I'm actually kind of impressed that I didn't derp it out too badly. Hi Nick, welcome to the stream. Random person as well, and Nauticals. Let's see what you guys are talking about over here. Let me scroll up a little bit because I think Nintendo had the first question. Are you still using the old pack? No, I am not. That's actually a good question. So let's go over here just so I can look down at this. And if you guys look very closely, you can see just this block alone was one of the first blocks I did because I wanted to copy exactly what the ground is. Walt's vision was that the ground should be a reddish color because you're on the red carpet and so on. So I got an exact image of the ground as it is in the real parks, at 512 by 512. And so what I'm doing is I'm starting every texture within the resource pack at 512 by 512, and then I'll scale it down. So the main one that you can log in and use is not going to be 512. It'll maybe be 64, just because some people's computers can't handle a 512 texture. But right now, all the textures are 512. This concrete here, that's a 512 texture. I didn't necessarily have to do 512 on these fences, but they're sized at 512. But the detail is so small, you don't have to worry about it. Let's see if there's another one. I think these are basically still the same as the main pack. Here's another good one. These blocks, I've got to redo this one though, because to me, I'm kind of like really detail oriented. And if you look like right in this corner, for instance, right here when I move away, see how it just doesn't quite meet on the corner there. So I've got to do this one again. Plus I need it in better detail than this because that's still pixelated looking to me, because I was only able to kind of grab a portion of it. Looking at, I guess this wood is a new texture, but I'm not sure if I'm content with it yet. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of these are, pretty much all of it is going to be new. I'm starting from scratch on everything. Also because I don't want to carry over like these blocks. Even though these blocks are ones that I made, I put them in the texture that existed on the other server, and I want to separate I don't want anything on this server to look or feel like it did on the other ones, because, well, that's their IP now. They own that, so I'm not going to be utilizing that. This is actually a good texture. This is the real blocks that are out here along the front and all around, like all around here, going back here. Those blocks exist so that's another picture, a real picture of the specific texture that's wrapping around the entire thing on the bottom end here, so that I don't have to use these half blocks like we did before. And then these half blocks now become the top of the item, because it actually looks all like this. If you get a picture of it now, I mean, granted, the half block up here isn't quite as large in real life, but that's the closest I can get to real life right there. So anyway, so that's answering, yeah, we're not going to be using the old pack. We're going to be completely updating in 100%. My compass, for instance, if I wink, yeah, I can go wink. That was something I made. See, if I turn, you can see it points in the right direction. But again, that's something I made for the other server that no longer exists. So let's go to the next person. Are you thinking of adding any major 3D model rides such as It's a Small World, Monorail, etc.? I absolutely 100% am. Another example of that would be the train right here. That's kind of derpy to me. So what I want to do is create the train and one of these cars so that when you guys get on this train, you're riding that car all the way down this pathway. I don't know that I'll be able to add the train in front of you, but the goal is to have at least this train car that you're sitting in so that when you're taking the entire ride around the park on the train, you kind of have that feeling. And of course the ride audio will be there as well. That goes also for the dune buggies in the Haunted Mansion. You know, I want every ride to have its own. Here's a good example. So if you see here, I've got a brown trash can with some detail, and then you go out here and I've got a yellow one. And those are both 3D models. Well, those are also one block. So what it means is that I can take one block and make multiple different variations on that block, and then therefore build multiple 3D models for that block. So then, so that it doesn't limit me. So I've got tons of possibilities. I can build hundreds and hundreds of models in order to make it more realistic. My only problem is, and I'm trying to see if I can do it here with this. It's not doing it here. Maybe I'm too close. I don't know. But you know when you turn away from an entity and it kind of disappears? Because like, we're looking at this trash can right here. And normally when you turn like that, it'll like disappear. I don't know why it's not. Maybe because the block I'm using is an actual block. Because you can see the hitbox right there. I don't know. That's what I worry about with this is, let me see there. Yeah, it's really not doing it for me, even on these entities. It's kind of weird. Give me another example. There we go. Okay, so you see how in the distance right here. So look at these. Look at this right here. You see the texture is bad because of the pixelator. But this green with the lights on it. So as I walk away, as I go farther and further in the distance, that should, yeah, so it starts to disappear. You see how everything's turning white over there? Ah, I just fell underground. That's pretty funny. Let's go back up. So the further I walk away, the entities disappear, and if I walk closer to them, they appear. I want to try to avoid that as much as possible too. So if we use too many 3D items, then we're going to have some problems when it comes to the way things look, the visuals, the feeling of reality, whatever. So yeah, we are definitely going to have lots when the monorail will be 3D, the train will be 3D, all the ride cars will be their own ride cars that they actually are in real life. And then random person, yep, you just reiterated what you said. So yeah, 3D models. The 3D model, the monorail, because I love the monorail so much, is going to be like a passion project. I'm really going to take as much time as I can with that detail-wise. Oh, I just saw the walkie-talkie texture. Yeah, that was something you guys never got to see in the old pack because this was only for the cast members. You know, because in real life, cast members carried walkie-talkies, so I figured what the heck, we'd make that for our cast members because this is a tool. See, I can aim at that tree, click, and I'm up on that tree. See, I was all the way over there before. And then I can aim right there and go down here. That's our compass tool. It's part of the World Edit suite. I like it because I can get anywhere. If I need to get over there too, boom, I'm on top of the monorail station now. Or I can aim at that flag on top of the train station, and there I am on top of it. Just kind of a cool tool that I don't know that you guys ever have had a chance to use, but it's very convenient, especially for building and especially for getting around somewhere really quickly. Alright, so let's see, we've got back in the day I barely use a walkie-talkie, blah blah blah, going on. I'm trying to catch up now because the chat's got a lot of stuff in here. So, will you add tickets that we can buy to get into the park with in-game money at the front of the park at the TTC? I want to make this more realistic than we even tried to on MC Magic. When we did that, I wanted to do that My MC Magic thing where, your magic band and everything was tied together. We really only got that working for hotel rooms and you know, telling you how many rides you took on a certain ride. I want to go deeper with that, and yes, I want it to be. So I'll give you an example. I want you to walk through here, and instead of me holding, let's say I'm holding my ticket. Okay, we'll just hold that, and say this is my ticket or my magic band. Actually, would be another good one. And when I come through here, I want to be able to do that. Right click it, and it automatically scan it, or even walk by it, and it knows that I'm holding it. I've seen games where you can do that, where basically if you're holding an item, or if it tests for an item nearby, that it'll recognize it. So when you walk by here, you'll get the same chime that you would when you use your magic band in the real parks. And then going through all the parks, yes, if you want to go in here and spend money, you would give them money for the register there, which, by the way, I got to change that too, because that's old school right there. That's one of the first models I ever made, was this register here with my money and the change in the drawer and the curling receipt tape. So yeah, goal is more realism than we ever had before. I don't want to give up too many details because you know, there, as much as I like the unity of the community, there is still a bit of competition, and I still want to have a few tricks up my sleeve, which I do already. I've already thought about quite a few things. All right, so moving on to other questions. There's Flapjack77 saying he stopped playing Minecraft a while ago, but he played on MC Magic religiously, excited to see the new server take shape. And so are we. And so am I, but so are we. Really, I really want to reiterate how important it is that all of this is, the belief about this and the reality of this is a community effort. This is not about me. This is not my ego. This is not wanting to rule over anybody. This is absolutely because the people miss it and want it. And so I'm willing to facilitate that. I'm willing to bring back what we were doing before. I'm also willing to share in a lot of the the workload that I didn't before as well. I mean, a lot of stuff I took on myself, whereas I want to now trust you guys to be able to do a lot of that work. When I say work, I mean, just give you responsibilities that normally I would be like, nah, I don't want anybody doing it. I'd rather be the one to do that. Just to show that I trust the community to do the right thing. So that'll be a big change. Welcome to the Imagineers Club was a welcome gift. We gave a 3-day park offer. Yeah, that would be good. Hey, there's a good one too. So you just mentioned the Ticket and Transportation Center. This will give you an idea of how realistic I'm trying to make this. By the way, when we get to a certain point, the water's going to stop because I haven't filled the entire Bay Lake or the lagoon here. But yeah, so you can see I'm flying away from the Magic Kingdom here, and there will be the islands as well, and we're starting to come up on the point where there's no water. So what I'm probably going to do in a moment here is start using the compass, just because I wanted you to see. Let's go ahead and use the compass here. Hold on. Oh, there we go. There's one of the edges of the water. So that's going to be the edge of the water at a certain point, and then that's another edge. So we should be coming up on the entrance here. I'm compassing because it's so far away in real life, but it's hard to gauge in Minecraft because real life and Minecraft's distances do not match up as much in in the visual form. But that directly across from the Magic Kingdom, that's the boat launch. You can see how far I am away because you can almost see the blocks loading over there. This is the TTC. So we would come from here and go all the way back over, keep compassing. Oh, this is one of the islands in the middle of the lake. So right here would have been, in like years and years ago, this is where the wave machine was, and so it's aiming towards, over there would be the Polynesian resort, the Polynesian Village Resort now, because they changed the name back. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going in. There's a secondary island. Now I gotta find my park again because I don't know where I'm at. Oh yeah, I'm going over here. There's a lot. I mean, well, yeah, did I go too far? Yeah, I think I went the wrong way. Okay, so now I'm over near, oh, that's there you go. So we'll just go over there then. We're getting towards, I think, the Contemporary. At least we should be, because that was supposed to be the pathway into it. Oh man. Let's just do that. That just gives you an idea how big this map is too. and how realistic it is to real life size. That yeah, I almost honestly, genuinely just got lost because I've got so much on here. Um, of course, the bus station over here too. I've got to build more of that. Um, anyway, so going back, I'll show you what we've I've accomplished so far. This is, by the way, all me. Nobody's come on here to help build. It's all block by block. Again, as one-to-one as possible. Another idea of how one-to-one is the levels of the land. So you can see there, the monorail station actually does go up exactly as it does in real life, the same elevation it does in real life. And you can see the land kind of carries that through, so you can see the different layers of land and how far it goes up there. And the goal is going to be the same way on Main Street, where you're going up towards the castle, because it kind of gives you that visual feeling too. Um, but yeah, so we're walking through there. Ooh, my compass just glitched out for a minute. But yeah, so we walk back in, and so some of the buildings I've completed are um, of course, Chamber of Commerce, the first building. Used to be the place where you could mail out your stuff, but now they got mail slots everywhere. But even the backstage stuff I'm going to be building here, because this is where the cast member would be in this building, and then this would be the entrance to the backstage there, that building. So most of the main details are built in here. I've still got to do some images and stuff like that. You know, the doors match. Um, the signage is way better than we've ever had before. You can see there, like, that's a decent level of detail for that. That's 4 images in total, but it's still much better image than we've ever had before. This, believe it or not, was super hard for me. There's no video or pictures of all of this, and I couldn't just go off of memory. But yeah, so now we have this is the level of detail I want. I wanted this walkway where the characters come down after from the train. Well, they used to when they had the show on the train in the morning. I wanted that whole pathway to be exact, so I finally found some detail on that and got it right. Another sign right here for this decent quality. It could be better, but as a matter of fact, I think I took a picture of that yesterday when I was at the Magic Kingdom, so I'll have that. Here's something else we didn't have before, the detail of this, which includes the image on the wall behind it. This is a character meet and greet area. Um, this is on the other server, it was on the other server, but it wasn't at this level of detail. Unfortunately, I think we even did it too wide here, because the buildings we didn't do Main Street that well, or I didn't, because a lot of it was my building. But there was way too much space between these buildings before. I found out, now as I've done measurements, the space here is a lot smaller, so it was hard to work on all those details, but I did. And that includes over here too, because they've updated the bathrooms, so there's an entrance here for the women's to go in that way, men's to go that way, and then this one without the door right now is going to be the unisex slash whatever with your kids one. But that's the point. Like, all of this is way more detailed than we've ever done before. I say we, but I've been the only one building so far. Again, better imagery. I mean, these signs are just so much cleaner and crisper, especially like that one. How it literally looks like it's hanging off the top of that. That's a way better sign. And then, of course, we're going to make all this interactive. Try to do the game right there, and that includes all the windows down Main Street. Speaking of windows, let's go check that out. This is how detailed I want to go with these too. I want those to pop. You could see from here that kind of does pop. I'm going to get a better image of it, but I wanted to kind of test it. And so as you look all the way around, it's like a 360 view almost. It almost feels 3D from here. But if I go in there, let me see if I can, yeah, there we go. So you see there's one wall there, one wall. So I basically built that on, between the walls, but as you're standing out here, it kind of blends a little, not too bad. I mean, it's not bad. So I'll do that for all the windows here, have all the details. I'm not going to have animatronics yet, even though they do in there, but because that's a lot of work. Maybe someday in the future, but that's a lot of little 3D models that I would have to build. So we'll have to see about that. That would be kind of neat though, like walking down and having all the Christmas, the Scrooge scenes that they have in here for Christmas, and seeing them all animated would be pretty amazing. So we'll have to see though. Again, we don't know, based on or I don't know, based on what I've built so far and the fact that the map is all in one place, whether or not the server is going to be able to accept that many items running at once, or, we're going to have to see. There'll be a lot of stress testing. So let me check before we continue down Main Street. I want to see if we've got any other questions here. Yeah, it seems to be. Okay, so what theme parks were you doing, and will they be actual one-to-one scale? Yes, we're doing all the Magic Kingdom, or excuse me, the Walt Disney World Resort, and they are one-to-one scale. I'm going to be walking in a moment to show you, and I'm also going to explain here in a minute why that building right there looks the way it does compared to that one, which is the Emporium. You'll get a very good, it's just a very good explanation to give you an understanding of how detailed I'm getting with this. So Laner asks, like, you've actually got to go to the window and all that, but it's free anyway. Don't know what that's about, but okay. Hotels will be handled this very similarly to how we used to, but differently. That's one of those things I don't want to resolve or let go of too soon when it comes to information. I want to kind of keep that one close because I've got some really good ideas for that. But just know that it will work with Magic Bands. The Magic Bands will be a part of the server, but they'll be a lot different than you've known them in the past. Will there be boats bringing you to some of the parks? What I would love is to be able to take the ship, the boat, from the TTC to the Magic Kingdom. We used to do that years and years and years ago when we had this weird plug-in that you could move like an entire group of blocks together, but it killed the server. And so we would just basically, it would be like, hey, everybody that's in the parks right now, if you want to take a quick ride just because we're bored, and then we would sit there with our wand in our hand and we would click forward and it would move every block of the boat one by one. What we found out later is that if we tried to do that with any entities on the boat, so for instance, if we've detailed the boat with imagery and other things, all those would stay behind. So basically, you'd just be on a bunch of blocks by the time you got to the pier. So that plugin could never work. However, there could be a way of 3D modeling a boat, but I don't know. That's one I've got to think about. I really do want to have that capability, though. I want people to be able to get on. Not everybody likes the monorail from the TTC. Some people like the boat, so I'd like to be able to offer that to them in the future. So 3D models. Here we go. Looking through the questions real quick. You plan to have characters? If so, will the guests who want to be character have to buy another account, or will there be a different system? So that's a debatable one on how we're going to handle that. Only because I want to be fair to everybody. I also don't want to steal any characters from somebody that already is utilizing them. In other words, a server. When we had MC Magic, in total, I want to say there were something like 180 different characters that were handled by cast members and guests alike. So we had, a lot of friends of characters, and not all of them were cast. So let me just get out of there real quick. Yeah, so that's going to be a difficult one we've got to figure that out. I own a couple of characters, like Walt is, I'm a friend of Walt's, and there's some, but I want to be careful because I don't want people quitting one server to come to ours and then say, well, I only want to work here because it used to be MC Magic or something, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to cause any strife in the community. So I want to be very careful, and I want people to be very respectful. So we'll see how we handle characters. What park is planned after MK? So I'm doing these in the same order, just as well as I'm doing the construction in the same order, as they originally built them in 1971, or finished them then. And then after 1971, it was 1981 when Epcot was built, and then 89, I think it was, or 80, no, it was 87 or 88. Anyway, so that would be Hollywood Studios and so on. We're going to open the parks in sequence, just not the same amount of years in between. So the Magic Kingdom will be the first thing to open. That I hope to finish by late this year when we actually do open. I want it to be 100% finished. At least you can visit it as a park. So we'll have to see how quickly we can get the other parks done. The amount of time it took us to build an entire park with a cast of 150 people that had maybe 20 people that were dedicated to building, it took anywhere from 6 to 9 months. I think we can cut that down a little bit, but we're going to have to see. I would really like to have the 4 basic parks done within a year and a half. That's a lot to ask, I know, but I've already, as you're about to see, I've already laid out most everything. So it just needs to be done. You know, it just needs to be constructed as to where it is. Playing up characters, 3D characters would be cool, but I don't know about 3D characters. That's going to be a difficult one. I think skinning people is just as good, as long as they're playing the part the right way. And yes, nauticals. We will have resorts, parks, water parks, Disney Springs, the parking lots. I mean, everything is going to be there. But animatronics, yeah, that would be so difficult. Will it be interactive rides, or will it be more like a model? No, they will be. Sarah asked that. Sarah, they will be interactive. Some of them, like obviously Buzz Lightyear would have to be interactive because you're shooting at a gun at a target. Things like that will be interactive. I can't think of like anything else interactive. Like for instance, Haunted Mansion doesn't really have anything quote unquote interactive except for the outdoor queue. And so I originally had a vision, and I did make it work at the old parks where you walked through the interactive queue and you could play the music on the organ, or you could push the bookshelves in on that portion, whatever, and then the bubbles and the spraying of water would come from the captain or whatever that was in anyway. So all of it it worked, and then we just kind of gave up on it and let it break, and nobody ever fixed it. So I'm bringing that back. So that'll be interactive. Same with the Peter Pan interactive queue. So the interactive queues I want to come back. The one we did at what was it, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. When we started that ride and when we opened it, you know, you could play music by walking on pads, and you all hit the buttons just like everybody's spinning the things in the real ride. If something interesting would happen and some fireworks would go off. All of that eventually broke over time, and nobody kind of went back to fix it. That would be one of those differences that I'm not going to let happen again. MC Magic allowed some things to go kind of awry, and we can't do that anymore because that ruins the magic for the guests. Those guests that came in those first few months and enjoyed those rides with all those interactive cues shouldn't be the only guests that ever experienced that. That would be like Disney doing that, you know, like, oh, well, you know, it worked for the first few months, but we don't need it, you know. The guests are fine. No, everybody deserves the same exact experience, and some people like to come back and re-experience the same thing again. So I want to make sure that that level of quality is up to snuff. So, will we do interactive games at the parks, such as the one at Firehouse at Magic Kingdom? So that's what I was just talking about. SK5 over here. When you go to the fire station in here, this pedestal that's standing here right now, this is one of the points of the games or whatever, where the beginning of it I believe is. I do want sorcerers to come in to have an ability. So I think this window, is it like one of these maybe, is another one that's part of it. There's all kinds of places. You know, actually another one I know of because I just saw it yesterday. Would have been right here where this white spot is, in the window here down this street, next to the Crystal Palace. Oh no, I meant to get to telling you about this too, but let me get through the questions first. So, yes, there will be interactive stuff, and I'll finally, I'll finally build the Pirates Adventure that I had originally envisioned in the old server. That we only got one of the challenges done on that, and I'd really like to get more of those done. All right, so I don't want to miss anything here. So let's see, we've got that's what you love. You bring every little detail. Yeah, and I'll go over that. Yeah, so Revolver just said something about you know, you go down to what the parks were built first and all that. So yeah, I've got a lot of details, and I want to share them with you guys here in a moment. Do you plan to have Epcot traditions, for example, Flower and Garden? Oh yeah, absolutely. So that would be another thing that I did on MC Magic that didn't get, um, we didn't do enough with it. And that's differentiations in food, for instance. You know, like just because there's fish, chicken, and beef doesn't mean we always have to be eating fish, chicken, and beef. I wanted variation, so I would make sure that we would title things very specific. So if you go to right now, it should still work. If you go to the confectionery, you can get a soda, but if you go to Joffrey's in Epcot at the Pixar area, you should be able to get an espresso. And when you drink the espresso, by the way, the espressos also should be available in Starbucks on Main Street. If you get the espresso, it gives you like a boost of energy. Like those are the kind of differences I want to add to the foods. Like, if you eat too much, maybe you get the little queasy feeling. I don't know. But I do. I want to make the differentiations in food. You want to go If you go to Casey's, you should get a hot dog. If you go over to the Tomorrowland Terrace, you should be able to get that chicken and mashed potatoes and green beans meal or something. All of that should be available to everybody, exactly as it is in the parks. Yeah, 11 years later, Epcot Center opens. Yeah, exactly, Laner. Hopefully not. Maybe 11 years in Minecraft time. What about the ending of Haunted Mansion with the mirrors? Will those work? So we kind of got that working in the old parks, but it never was to my satisfaction. I think I have an idea of a way that we can do it that'll make it work, where you will see yourself. And I'm not going to say much further because I've been talking that over with a developer to see if that could be done. Because of course, Haunted Mansion is, good lord, one of my favorite rides besides the Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm. Which, by the way, I finally got to see this weekend. For the first time, I've got to see the kind of rewrite of the script. It wasn't bad. It didn't take away too much, but it was weird because I'm not used to it after all these years. So yeah, it's going to be kind of strange to get used to that new play in the Pirates of the Caribbean. So anyway, moving on. Morris is asking, could we get a builder, someone to really get the outer circle of the parks right? Not every bush exact, but I hate to see the green flat world. I wish it would be blocked by trees or stuff, or highway. Morris, I don't know if you missed that part I was talking about before. You're talking about variations in land, so it's not just a flat land. To give you an example, I'm 100% on board because look what I'm doing here. Notice that the monorail station is up on this land because that's what it is in real life, and I'm carrying that around all the way around the Seven Seas Lagoon. Um, you can see here. Look, I mean see how it's all like it's leveled up and everything. So yes, it's not going to be a perfectly flat, stupid green, grassy land everywhere, and that's the only thing that everything is built on. I can let me get through this, and then I answer some more questions in a minute because I wanted to explain what was going on here, and then we can go over and I'll show you where some other levels of land are going to work out. But the reason for this, so in real life, when they constructed Main Street, they built 4 core buildings, and they looked exactly like this. They didn't cover this one until recently, but yeah, whatever. These are 4 separate buildings. And then, granted, there are different poles that go up and down along here, but the core of the buildings are this, that there's the 4 corners, and then the first floor is 10 feet, and the second floor is 8 feet in height. So why that works and why I found that worked, this is helping me actually construct everything the right size too, because it forces me, for instance, in this building, which you can see by color coding, this is where I cut off this one, and then it goes into the center portion here, which I've got to build the facade for that. But I was able to kind of measure and get the right measurement for all the different facades in the front of this building, so that they're all exactly right. So if I had just built the building, let's say I just started building and then I would build, this is a good example. So this little portion, which is very small in real life, I would have probably done something dumb like carried those blocks all the way down, then 2 blocks. So I would have been like 1 block too far this way. Um, Doing it this way, constructing the buildings like this and laying it down in front of it, as you can see here, this is going to be the facades, makes it a lot easier. Also, it follows their design principle, which was build the core and build around it. And so if you look at that, you see this pole right here that goes all the way up to the top of the building. It's a support pole. When you walk into the Emporium through this door, if you've ever noticed, there's a giant pole right here in front of the door. Maybe you've kind of wondered why. That's one of those main supports. So this, when I'm out here, you would think, or when I'm right here, you think, oh, well, this is all part of the building. This is structurally part of the building. It's holding it up. It's not. All of this is facade. This is all just part of the stagecraft. So technically, the building starts here, and this is the same thing as this right here. So also, when you walk into the confectionery, the same thing happens. There's a pole in the middle of your walkway when you're walking in that you kind of walk around to get through the doors there on the corner. Those are structural portions of the building that exist underneath of everything else. So if you also look here, let's hover above. look how far out all of that goes. Like this is the awning that goes around the confectionery, and this is a couple of the buildings, and then you go back here, you see how it goes in. This was constructed later in the years, but that's still all basic facade, and you just build around this core. So I'm going that much detail. I literally looked at, there was construction video that I found, there was pictures that I found. I've been very lucky. I found some, way before they opened, images of the construction of the Magic Kingdom from starting in 70 or 1969 or 1970 or something. And then there were guys in construction that actually took pictures that never released them up until a few years ago. And I kind of happened upon at least 3 sets of those from 3 separate individuals within the past few years. 2 of which I think were found after I was with MC Magic. So, but yeah, this gave me a good starting point, so I can take that level of detail into these buildings. Let's see. So, going back to what we were talking about levels of land, and then of course you can see there's a lot laid out here. This would be another example of that. You've got some land that goes down here. When we get back to, where was it? Okay, well, I think right here for Tomorrowland, which is why I didn't build anything here as part of the pathway, because all of this is at a different level too. When we're at Crystal Palace and we walk over this bridge, the bridge isn't one level, so that's got to be done a different level. And you can see that I haven't put that in yet. This is up higher here, which this was part of. Let's. Oh, there's another. There's more levels. The water under here, and then of course, for those of you that are familiar with it, let me go back under here. I'm building everything. This is technically the ground down here. Right here, I'm standing on the ground. There's the park above me, because the utilidors. So we're doing everything one-to-one. I'm doing everything one-to-one, as much as possible. But again, yeah. So I'm on the ground right now, which is exactly like it is in real life for the real parks. This is technically above ground because you've got all the utilidors. It was because Walt was so upset about seeing like a guy from Tomorrowland walking through Frontierland in a Tomorrowland outfit. It's like, it ruins the magic of being in Frontierland if you're seeing some futuristic guy. Anyway, so let's see. Laner says, I agree with that. Most places just have the... What? It just scrolled out of the way. Sorry. There's so much you guys are asking. This is good. Tiny bunch of sapling trees, yuck, and just flat grass. So Disney actually does a really good job, by the way. And you guys, it's good that you guys notice that, Morris and Laner. Disney does a really good job of placing trees and building in a way that blocks your view of everything. The only thing right now that isn't, like if you're standing at Splash Mountain and you look across, you can still see the castle from there. But that's because you're up a little bit higher when you're back at Splash or Thunder Mountain Railroad. So I want to even go that far, and part of that is, by the way, because they did construction. If you guys recall, the interactive queue at the Haunted Mansion used to just be trees with a couple of tombstones that you'd still see when you go in. Those trees got removed, and that was originally blocking the view from Tom Sawyer Island, the ship or the steamboat that goes around, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, all of that from seeing anything in the other lands at all. All those trees got removed, and now they're regrowing. So over time, they'll block it again. But Disney's really good at utilizing that. If you look to go Google some construction shots of the new Star Wars land, and I was there yesterday. They've already planted trees in the entrances area, so that when everything is built, it's all going to blend in wonderfully. You're not going to see anything from the outside of Star Wars, and you're not going to see anything outside of Star Wars when you're inside of it. It's going to be brilliant. All right, so you're going to be doing Disney marathons. Yes, Zack Attack asked that. Yes, we are. We're going to bring that back, because apparently that's not a thing anymore for any other servers, is to do the runs around the parks. Also, what I want to do in relation to that, and that's one of those things we'll do different, is I want people to run backstage just like they do in real life. One of those neat benefits of doing the 5K and the 10K at Real Disney real Walt Disney World, is that you get to go behind the scenes as part of your run. So you're kind of going through and going, "Oh, that's neat. I never knew, I never knew that was there before," and so on. I want that to be part of the marathons that we do at the new parks at Imagineer. Are you going to be doing Disney marathons? See, we got that. I'm making you hungry. Oh yeah, because I was talking about the food. That was way earlier. Do you have an idea of how you might? This is crazy asking this. Do you have an idea of how you might make Happily Ever After in its projections? So one of the things that I did at to give you an idea that this is actually possible. You guys remember when I first built the Haunted Mansion, and you go to the first room and you're looking up at the painting, and the painting changes from the young guy to the old skeleton. That used to work. I don't know if it still does, but it used to. And I found a way of using command blocks and timers in order to change these pixelator images, which are essentially map images, to different ones. So I could rotate them. In other words, like you wouldn't, it would almost blend in really well. If I add to that a light block behind it that will shine, that would look. So if I can change the image in front of it to look like something that's from that show, and then have a light block behind it to kind of brighten it, so that it even more brings your eye to it. That's already possible. It's just getting it done, and that can be done too with the show plugin to time it more perfectly. Since TPS is going to be horrible, I'm sure, when I first open. The Main Street vehicle type rides, Nick, that would be amazing. And actually, let's go back over here. I want you to see that I think this is the I've done the best I can here. We never even had it this far, and I've got to go further with it because actually this is even wrong back here. I took pictures of the inside of this yesterday. I got to go in here, and I've got to redo it. But as you can see, I actually did make sure that everything connects now to all of the track. I haven't gotten down all the way down Main Street yet, but yes, all the tracks are going to be rideable. And then I think what your other question really is, and it kind of isn't about the tracks. It's like, can we ride the fire truck from? Because the fire truck starts here. That's why I have this thing here. This is where the fire truck starts, and then goes around, and then goes all the way up to the castle. You want something like that, and yes, I want to offer that to the guests. All right, so that was Nick. Nintendo Craft is asking, will you bring back the utilidors? Well, I think we just passed that point, and I got your question answered there. And you did say question answered. Will there be a little DVC area like the Magic Kingdom in the old server? So, DVC, not really DVC, but certain guests have the opportunity to use these areas at the Magic Kingdom for relaxing, laying down, and watching the fireworks. And I always thought about, like, how can I do that over here? Because, well, it just we don't. It's just not the same. You can't really stand here, all the way back here, because that's the castle is way up there. Anyway, where am I at? There. That's really far. Like that's like just to give you an idea. Like look at that. Like so in real life this makes sense because you kind of get like a view of the sky. But when you're this far back from the castle, which is supposed to be right there, um, the view is not very good on this server. You'd have to have your viewing distance set really high, and then of course the server would too. And the higher you set your viewing distance as a server, the worse the server works. I mean, it's horrible for its CPU. Anyway, so the answer to the question is I want to offer them something, but number one, I'm not going to call them DVC anymore because DVC is really expensive to buy into in real life, and it doesn't make sense for us to call somebody DVC that's given us, that's given a $5 donation or whatever you want to call it. That was I never should I just it came out of the blue and I figured it was a short spelling. But the more I looked into what DVC truly is, it's a ridiculously expensive thing to be invested in. Anyway, so yeah, we want to offer our guests that are helping us and supporting us something special. I just don't know if it's going to be the same castle turrets that we had before. Also, because in real life, those castle turret areas are built for the technicians that do the shows. So I want to make that like a box where people can hit the buttons. Because what we used to do is we had like a giant box under the stage at the castle where you could hit the button for the show. I don't want that anymore. I want it to be where the technicians would be. So the cast member would walk upstairs, go in there, push the button for the show. That makes more sense to me. What do you think Imagineers will bring to the theme park? Basic Realms asks. Theme park community that no one else has it or hasn't. Yeah, okay. Um, a lot. So a lot of you may have missed a lot of what I said earlier in the stream. Basic. You should probably go back and watch it later on when the stream is archived. But essentially, there's going to be things that we're going to do that nobody else has done before. Nobody's. Some people have done, but they never continued. And some people are doing now, but we can do better. You know, and I keep saying we because, but I don't really have a team yet. You know, I know that there are people dedicated to this, and I know that people are willing to work, and I know that people are willing to throw their support behind it. Oh, interesting. There's some people on the server, not my server. I'm sorry, the Discord. It's going to be handled a lot differently. There was, I'll admit, there was tension towards the end when I left. Um, that's not going to be as predominant anymore at all. At all. There's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more transparency, more so than there ever used to be before. That's internally. So, like internally alone, there's going to be a lot different. We're going to handle cast members a lot different. We're going to handle information a lot different. Sharing of finances a lot different. Sharing of what's going on, maybe the issues that we're facing or the challenges that we have. And then, of course, paying our developers who deserve it. I never got to thank Lego for all the hard work he did on our server for all those years, and to this day, to my death, it'll bother me, because he's such a great kid, and we gave him a chance, and then I was never able to fully support him like I wanted to, and I really feel horrible about that. So I want to make sure that every developer is respected and treated the way they should be. In other words, paid for their work, because they do hard and important work. You know, one of the first things I'm going to have done is a show plugin, because we got to have shows. You know, you got to be able to do wishes or whatever else people want to see. Because yes, I want to bring back wishes, even though it doesn't exist anymore. Um, you know, that's not going to be. That's not a volunteer project. That's got to be something that we respect somebody who has a skill and pay them for. All right, so as I said, there were some other things that I said in the beginning of the stream that relate to how this is going to be different. I would definitely suggest, I apologize, I don't want to get too much into it and keep repeating myself, but I would definitely suggest going back and listening to that, because I talked about, well, what are you doing this for? You know, you've already done it before, and how come you feel like you're going to be any different than anybody else is, and blah, blah, you know, like I did, I referenced that earlier. But I hope I added to some of the answer just now for you. Let's see. Still want to know if guests will be. Yes, Nintendo in regards to the utilidors, guests will be welcome to go. Yeah, pretty much. Let's just put it this way: if you can get there, you're allowed. That's a big change, by the way, from the old servers. You're not going to have. Oh my God! I wish they never invented the barrier block, because it's the worst invention for a theme park server ever. Because people will take like a 1 block wide like lane for a queue, and they'll put the barrier blocks all around your head right here, so you can't hop up on the. Because God forbid you're on top of a fence in a queue. What are you gonna break? Why? Oh my God! It drives me nuts that people use barrier blocks so often. Like if you're and what if it's a 1 wide queue that you have to go back and forth zigzag on it? Like here, I'll give you an example. Go over here. Let's go back to the. This is. Oh my God! It just drives me nuts. So imagine walking out of the. This is a good example. Imagine walking out of the monorail station here, and this is literally a 1 block wide, and then you have to take this corner here. Now notice I'm able to hop up because, well, there's no barrier blocks here. But if there were barrier blocks, you'd be going side to side, side to side, side to side, like this the whole way down. It drives me nuts. I don't understand why. What is somebody going to break? Oh no, they're in the gravel. Everybody panic. They're in the gravel. What are they going to do? Are they going to stop a monorail from coming in? No, because we have the plugin we have doesn't allow people to interact with a cart as it's going by. So that's not going to hurt anything. What are they going to do? Get backstage? Oh no. What are they going to do? Set up a like what are they going to get backstage? Like go back here. Hey, look, they found buildings. quick, everybody, panic. What are they going to see if they get over here? You know, like, is it going to really, if they're willing to go back there, if they've got the knowledge to figure out how to hop over certain areas, like, you know, I'll give you an example that's right now available, but it's not going to be eventually. If I came over here and I was doing a character visit, I could just go, oh, let me hop on this and then climb up here and then, hey, I'm backstage. If somebody is smart enough to figure stuff like that out, let them. They're curious. They're having a good time. They're not going to be able to do that in the real parks. It's, you know, if people want to talk about it's going to ruin the you know what? That person decided to go back there, let them ruin the magic for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if they want to go back there and find out, that's another reason why I'm doing this level of detail. These buildings truly exist. Every window in the right place. You know, all of this fence exists exactly as I put it here. And so let somebody go back there and find it. I just can't stand barrier blocks. And now I get off my pedestal for a minute and try to answer other questions. Let's see. Will there be a little DVC area? So we've already answered that. Maybe actual Disney merch inside of the Emporium and Special Edition. That's from the random person. 100%. Oh my God, yes. So one of the things that I asked from the old server was I asked the technicians if they would please differentiate so that when you went into, let's say, the Star Wars store in Hollywood Studios, you could buy Star Wars merch. And then when you went into the Emporium right here, which, by the way, you haven't even been in here, but see, there's the building I was talking about and the corners and everything else. And you go here to the register, let's say, and you want to purchase something, you right-click the sign. I don't want you to see the same thing in every single store like we did have before. I want there to be a differentiation in stores and differentiation in what merchandise you can buy at that store. So let's say when you walk in here, this is kitchen stuff. In real life, like kitchen stuff sitting right in this area here. If I go over here, this is all the pins right in this area, like a bunch of pedestals of pins. If I go over here, it's all magic bands. I want that to be good. If I go over here, it's going to be all the plushies, you know. If I go over here, it's going to be the models or the different things that are seasonal. And then as I, you know, go through here, there'll be clothing pretty much from the rest of the building on. All this is clothing. I want that to be available as you go to the register for the clothing area, I want it to say that it's clothing. That's basically it. That's that simple. All right. Oh, good night, Laner. Sorry I missed it. You've already left. Let's see what we got here. Imagineer Club IRL merch. Yes. We'll try to do stuff like that. I don't want to give up too much too. This is another thing that like it's going to make us completely different. I don't want to give up too much, but I'll just say that you will want that Imagineers merch in real life because of events that are going to happen in real life. The goal is, more interactivity in real life. Anyway, so I'm not going to get too far into that because I don't want to answer about a billion questions when it comes to that, but we'll get to that eventually as we start to open. Will there be any unexpected magical moments? That's what a magical moment is supposed to be, SK5 Minecraft. It's supposed to be when you're least expecting it. So yesterday is a good example. When I went to Rizzo's Pizza, the first pizza I got was horrible. I mean, it was dry. There was like no cheese left on it. It all baked away or something. The meat was like crispy. It was just a horrible looking and tasting pizza. And I took one bite and took it back. The manager came out and immediately was like, I am so sorry for everything that just happened. Like, nothing but apologies. How can, I'm like, what, I would like to make this better for you as a guest. Can you wait for me just a second and I'll go get you a new one, and I'll also compliment your meal so that you don't have to pay for it. I was like, thank you, that's great. I was like, I felt magical at that moment because he went out of his way to apologize, to give me the better food, to pay me back for the meal that should have been right in the first place. Then on top of that, I get my meal. It's gorgeous. This is a beautiful pizza that's been perfectly cooked. There's a ton of cheese and meat on it. And I've got my salad, and my drink has been refreshed, and he hands me my money back. And then he says, are you allergic to anything? And I was like, no, why? He's like, hold on a sec. Goes in the back, pulls out a tiramisu and a cannoli, hands them to me and goes, I want you to have these two, and please enjoy your meal. And I'm very sorry once again for what happened. That is a magical moment. because he went even further than getting me my money back and giving me my meal in like freshly cooked. I was happy with that. And then he comes out with a tiramisu and a cannoli, and I'm like, can the boing. That's why I posted it on Twitter yesterday, because I wanted his management to know he did a good job and went out of his way to help me with my meal. So yes, that is the kind of magical moment that I want people to have in our server. If they've ever had a bad time, or if they're ever uncomfortable, or if anything, they come on and they've had a bad day or something. I just don't want people to think that you get magical moments for nothing. You know what I mean? Like you don't just come onto the server and then expect them. That's like going up to a cast member and saying, "Excuse me, I just stubbed my toe. Can you give me a magical moment, please?" That's not how it works, and you're also putting that cast member on the spot. Meaning, like, first of all, as a cast member, they're not really allowed to say no. Second, now you've just made it really, really, really awkward. So don't expect magical moments. That's what makes them magical. So yeah, when there will be unexpected magical moments. That's the long answer to that short question. All right, so let's see. Will there be a rank dedicated to? I'm sorry, it just scrolled up again. Being a builder again. That would be Imagineer. Yeah, not with the EAR, but with the EER. And that was Nautical's asking that. Nick says, "Are you going to do anything interesting with the photo pass? A photo pass thing similar to Craft Ventures would be cool." So what I want to have, and we were actually just talking about this, and I can't remember with who. There was a plugin that somebody had where essentially, as soon as you got to a certain point in the ride, it took a picture of you and sent it to, I guess, a hosting, whatever. Could be Imagineer, could be whatever. And then you basically got a picture of yourself in that area or something like that. I don't know. I also want that to be capable for the for the guests to get when they get a picture with a character. So that way, that's what I want to tie in, like with your Magic Band and your Photo Pass, and just like in real life, I want it to all tie in together. SK5 is asking, will there be a musician and singer in Epcot's America? What I would say is, I would like to bring some kind of musical guest to the pavilion in front of the American Pavilion, yes. Because that is a concert area. But so you would have to be like, we would have to schedule an event every so often where we bring in somebody that either plays music or mixes, like a DJ or something like that, and have everybody at the American Pavilion right down there at the concert stage enjoying the real show as it happens. So yeah, I do want to have stuff that's the level that I want to have it at. Let's see. And yes, nothing Adelina just said, "Oh my god, I feel so free, I can go back on the stage." That was like the dumbest. I will say this, by the way, because she was talking about the what I was talking about way before, which is the barrier blocks. I'm gonna break my own rule only for one thing, basically. Um, we're gonna have to block Iro and Phantasmic, but just the water areas. I can't have people hopping in the water ruining the magic for other people. That's my point. So, with the stage, when the fireworks are going off, maybe that'll be the new, like, supporters rank area. I don't know, but only during the show. Otherwise, I want you guys to have the freedom to walk onto the stage. Like, for some reason we had it blocked off, and then the only thing you'd ever see on the stage besides a show would be somebody's birthday chair, which is cool, but people want to go up there. Like, that was the story I used to tell. The first year we were open, I think it was. This guy came on with his 4-year-old daughter and wanted to be able to get up on stage. And I was like, yes, of course you can go up there. He's like, oh, cool, go, and then I brought Mickey up, and that's the whole, like, it was his magical moment in a way, because he didn't expect it. He thought he wouldn't be allowed up there. We should all feel free to be able to move about. It's a Minecraft server. We're not in the real Disney, so there are certain kind of like things that, I mean, I can't point with two fingers like they're supposed to do, or your hand at Disney when you're saying, hey, you want to go over there if you want to find a hot dog. but I can at least offer all the other things that a Disney park would offer. So, but at the same time, on the flip side of that, for those people that want kind of like a new experience, maybe you want to know what the utilidors are like. Maybe you want to know what backstage is like, and you want to see all the, the infrastructure. Some people love looking at HVAC systems, which is essentially the air conditioning. I mean, believe it or not, that's like a thing people love, so why not? Or some people want to make it all the way back to the monorail station where all the monorails are serviced. Some people want to go back to Disney University and see where the people are trained. Most cast members got to go back there because that's where I would train them, but maybe a guest would like to know what that building's like and see the classrooms. I don't know. All right, so will there be smaller things implemented that may not exist in the community, like Hall of Presidents and Singers? Oh my God, yes. So, Hall of Presidents is going to be a tough one for me personally. I'm not going to get into the politics, but I have to be fair and offer every ride and every show to every guest. And so, if I get recordings of our current president, cool, I guess. But otherwise, I may just leave out. I don't know. But yes, the goal is to again bring back Carousel of Progress so that everybody can ride it again. Bring back the Hall of Presidents. Bring back all these things that we haven't had for years previously as well. Because we actually did used to have a show at the Hall of Presidents, but that was another one of those redstone things that broke. All right, moving on. Let's see. Let's say Typhoon Lagoon. This is and by the way, the last question was Basic Realms. This question's from Nick. Let's say Typhoon Lagoon is closed one day because of cold weather. Will you then close Typhoon? No, that would be an example of what I was just talking about. Perfect example of that, where Disney does things that we can do differently but still keep the magic. We can keep the parks open no matter what. That's why it's always daytime, unless it's a show. And that's coming back, by the way. I'm sorry for those of you that like nighttime. You can switch it on your own terms. But for crying out loud, there is no reason to have a day and night cycle when not everybody's going to log in at the same time every day, and it's awkward to log in and be like, I think of it like Pavlov's dog. If you log in and it's dark, you should automatically start salivating because you feel like the show's going on. I better get to the castle. That's what I want you to think of when you see it's dark. There should be no other reason for us to have the day-night cycle on the server. It's aggravating, it's awkward, and let's be fair, it's not always lit perfectly, so you're not enjoying the experience as well. Yeah, so we're definitely bringing back the daylight all the time thing. And yes, the parks will stay open all the time too. How do you mess up a pizza? Yeah, I know, right? So I guess Basic Realms, I answered your question about, you know, concerts like Ariana Grande. I don't know that we'll ever be able to get an Ariana Grande. I mean, could you imagine? Hey, Ariana, you want to come on a Minecraft server and do your show for a couple hours? Hey, thanks. That would be amazing, but we'll have to see, you know. Oh, by the way, rest in peace, Avicii. Moving on. Are we going to have staff apartments or DCP housing buildings? Starbucks is asking that, and the real buildings that exist for DCP will eventually be built. But we're not going to be doing the staff offices, staff apartment thing that we did before. That wasn't realistic, so I don't want to build it. If it's real, we're building it. If a cast member is in the guest services or management position, it makes sense for them to work at casting, and there is a real building for the casting department with real offices that yes, they can have. Um, that goes with trainers. Trainers would have their own office at the Disney University, and so on. But we're not building like 20 story buildings and letting everybody build like giant offices with goopy stuff in them, waterfalls and whatnot. It's just not going to happen for now. I would like to focus more. You know, people that focus on that don't focus on building in the parks or keeping the parks up to date. I think that was a neat idea for by the way, for the cast members. I am not at all dissuading anybody from their creativity or anything else, or talking bad about anybody when I talk about that. I just didn't think it fit if you know what I mean. So it was no disrespect to anybody. I just didn't feel it had a good fit with MC Magic. Will the parks close when it turns nighttime in Minecraft time? So I think we just handled that nauticals. Hey, A-Team, quick explanation. He doesn't like barriers. They're so annoying. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Certain things should be buried off. And so I guess you guys were talking about that when I was saying that, yes, I would barrier off Phantasmic and Iroh because, well, let's be honest, you don't want people swimming in the water while you're trying to enjoy a show. Let's see. Worry about laggy models. Yeah, I mean, I do too. Francis, let's see if I can do this. Francis de Pugtato. Yeah, the de Pugtato. I do worry about some of them as well. But again, I'm going to make sure that we were talking about this earlier. I don't know if you were here earlier. I don't want it to be so that they're lagging the server because they can be considered an entity. I'm being very, very, very careful about that. Are we going to build every single resort? Yes, we are. Are we going to be? Are we going to be? And that was Nick. A Team says, "Are you going to pick former CM over new applicants in November?" The only reason I would do that, and the answer, I mean, the simple answer is yes, but the complicated answer is that those are people that are already trained, so I know I can trust them. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a rehire at Disney. If somebody leaves Disney and two applicants show up, the applicant with the experience is going to be the more suitable candidate. And then maybe later down the road when they need to fill a position, they'll call that other person back and say, okay, we're going to bring you on now. So it is no disrespect to anybody that's never worked at MC Magic before, but we are going to probably have a hiring based first on people that used to work here just because it's easier to be like, yep, you're done, you're in. Now you do this, you know. So yeah, Nintendo, no, the offices will not be making a comeback unless the offices exist in real life. Had a previous question, but rephrasing it. Francis de Potato says, will you have things that let lower quality PC that can run a space? Yes. So for Francis and others, and this goes to earlier too, Francis, so you know that I actually talked about how the resource packet is as it exists now, because look here, like that road and this block here, you can't even hardly see it because it's so small, but let me see if I can zoom in. I don't think it lets me zoom in on the stream. I'm trying really quick. I'm looking at the stream. It doesn't look like I am now. So anyway, those are 512 by 512 textures now, but the majority of people when they log into the server are not going to get that. The 512 texture pack is going to be an option that people can do separately. What I'd like to offer is different. So I want a 16, I want a 16, a 32, a 64, a 128, and a 512. I want all of those choices for the guests. When they initially log in, it'll be the 16 because that's what a normal resource pack is, and it's also the smallest download. They will then have the option of upgrading to the larger resource pack that they want. Right now, the 512 one, for instance, is about 20 megabytes, whereas the 16 by 16 textures are going to be probably, well, I was able to, in MC Magic's days, get my pack smaller than Mojang's. Let's put it that way on the 16 by 16. So yes, I am thinking about those people with the lesser quality PCs. For instance, the models too. Remember, models are entities. Period. They're not. It doesn't matter about the size of them, even though they scale up. They don't necessarily have as. What I have to do is I have to remember that I want to make as few entities as possible, and I want that anyway. Even for my PC, I want that. I don't want to log in and have a lag issue. Remember, Main Street on the old Magic Kingdom used to be horrible to walk down. You get like 4 frames a second because there was so much junk underneath it and above it and around it. I don't want that to ever happen again. So I am thinking about how to do it, make it look good, at the same time make as few entities as possible. Alright, so moving on. Let's see. Taste buds. Oh, okay. Hi. Taste buds asks, hi, is MC Magic coming back? Or, yeah, well, Imagineers Club is the new name of the server that will be existing later this year. So thank you for asking, and yeah, I miss it too. Some stuff will be different. How are you going to do Club 33 locations is what Starbucks asks. They're pretty much announced, meaning that they're public now. Like Everybody knows they exist. They know where they're at, and there's also images everywhere of them. I don't have the Club 33 pictures yet for the Magic Kingdom. I don't even think that's finished yet, to be honest. So, but I'll have to find out. And if I can get images, if I can get in there, if I can get a cast member to let me in, I will build it. Yes. Are you using Outline plugin like Palace? Um, I'm using a. I'm using a. It's not a plugin per se. So, what I have is a measurement tool that I utilize, and then within the game, I can use that tool combined with the polygons and all the other things that I can basically create a polygon that gives me the specific angle if I hit two different points, but I can also hit multiple points. So if I get the measurements from one point to another to another to another, when it comes to, like, let's say, four corners of a building, I can use my tool in the game. So I guess it's a combination of a tool that I have separately from the game as well as the game itself, in order to get all the measurements correct. When it comes to the levels of the land, that's what's called GIS data. That's mapping data, which exists. It's free. It's open source. It's available. Anybody can download it. And so you get the elevation, the land elevation from that, and combine that with the ability to kind of lay down exact points of measurement. Um, yeah, when I say one to one, there are so many people that want to argue with me, like, but what if something's only a foot long and you're putting down a block? That's a meter. Blah blah blah. I'm like, look, one to one is as close as we're going to get. This as close to one to one as possible. Let's not have arguments about semantics. Let's just enjoy it. So anyway, that's that. Will there be an age limit for applying for staff? Yes, it'll be 14 and up. For HIPAA, or not HIPAA regulations, for COPA regulations. The Children's Online Protection and Privacy Act. I take that very seriously. That's one of the reasons that we had to change that within MC Magic, because there was a time when we had people as young as 12 years old that were kind of quote-unquote working on the server, and honestly I was very uncomfortable with that, because what if they had to submit information to us anyway. We just don't want to have to deal with that, so it's 14 and up. Does that apply to former, what is this, 8 team armor stands? There's a lot going on here, hold on. Oh, Nintendo's asking if I have any ideas for donor ranks and any ideas of how much they'll cost. So number one, they're not donors. We've got to stop thinking of it like that. These are supporters. Donors and donations are for nonprofits, and we're not a nonprofit, and so you can't call somebody that's giving money to support you and help you with server costs and so on. You can't call them a donor, because then they're going to come back at you and be like, but I've got to file my taxes or something. Like there literally was somebody that did that to us. They're like, you said you were a nonprofit. I was like, I said no such thing in my life. But you're taking donations. I'm like, we're accepting gifts from whatever. Like it made me very it makes me very uncomfortable to use the word donors because of that, because people wanted to kind of challenge it as if, oh, well, what do you mean you're going out and you're spending money on items like this, because that's supposed to be donations, which you're a nonprofit, you should be held accountable. I'm like, calm down, you guys. People gave money so we could run the servers. There are things that are going to cost money. That's just a fact of life. So yeah, it's now going to be like supporters or whatever. There's going to be, I'm going to try to maybe find something in the Disney jargon that matches it a little bit better, because like DVC doesn't match it, that's for sure. DVC is too much of a buy-in in real life. We'll find the right nomenclature and we'll utilize that, but it will not be called donors anymore. Shareholder and DVC will not come back as ranks at all, probably. I'm going to go ahead and say that, at least. I don't want to say what they're going to be yet, because again, I don't want to challenge anybody, and I don't want anybody stealing too much of my info. All right, so will there be an age limit? Yes, we've already talked about that. In Epcot, will you have the VIP? Well, I have them now, or at least I had them in MC Magic. I spent a lot of time, by the way. Hold on a minute. The VIP lounge that's in the Spaceship Earth building. That one is, well, it's one of my favorites, but it was one of the ones I spent the most amount of time on and getting the details exactly right interior wise. So if you look up there for today, let's say if you went on that server and you looked up there, you would see like the seats or the lighting or whatever. Like it's all there. It exists there right now. You can go up in there and enjoy the lounge. There's even like a couple of little like Easter eggs in there and stuff that you can enjoy. But there's a bar that goes off to the side in the lounge where you can grab a drink, or there's a lounge itself, or there's it's just all there. And so yeah, I want to re-include that. The other one that I know of, there's two more that I believe are there. I know there's one above Test Track. My understanding is that there's one at Mission Space, but I've never seen that one. All right, so no, Francis Resport Pack will be free. Yes, it will. Copa is 13, but I'm keeping it at 14 just for my own sanity. Also because, um, okay, so I got to be honest here. This is a little bit of honesty. Actually, I may have to go 16, and I'll tell you why. This is, please, for those of you that are under 16, don't be brokenhearted yet. I've got to figure all this out. This is still, we got till the end of, or later this year. And but I'm going to break your hearts when I say stuff like this, and I don't mean to, but I have to be brutally honest. Like I said, I want this new thing to be transparent. I want you to know exactly where I'm coming from. I can't handle the immaturity of somebody who hasn't yet reached about that age of 16, where they've started to understand about responsibility in life. They've started to understand about the consequences of their actions. They've got a better hold on their emotional outbursts. People 16 and up are a little bit better to handle. People under 16 are still driven by emotion, driven by an inability to understand things. And it isn't disrespect. I'm not being disrespectful here. It's just that you don't have the life's experiences yet. You may have some great life experiences. You might be a Boy Scout. I don't know. I was. But that doesn't give you the stability to be able to handle, let's say, a very tough guest that comes onto the server. Or to deal with what's called conflict resolution. Now, in conflict resolution, you don't combat it, you don't fight it, you don't come at it with an attitude and strike back at it. Conflict resolution is getting that person that's up here at a very high level of anger and frustration and bringing them down over a period of time in a very soothing and correct way. You can't learn that until you've had a better understanding of it. People 16 and up have usually started to work at a job, so they've started to deal with people on a one-on-one basis, and therefore they have a better understanding of what conflict resolution is. All of these combined, it gives it gives me a little bit of an easier time training people, but it also gives me a more stable cast. When I changed the age range from for any age to I think it was 13 on MC Magic, we saw a dramatic rise in understanding and respect and the ability for certain people to do their volunteer positions on the server. It was way easier to handle our cast. Like we didn't have as many emotional issues. We didn't have. Look, I'm emotional too, but I'm not going to bring that to the server. That was the difference with the younger kids. They couldn't separate that. And again, please understand that I'm in no way being disrespectful or being ageist. I have to be logical about this because we're representing the best company in the world, and we need to have our best face on for that. You know, we need to be presenting ourselves in the best way possible. I can't take any chances that somebody would 4 a.m. I'm asleep, everybody else is in bed. There's, only 3 people in cast on at the time, and somebody comes on and decides to troll, and that maybe 13 or 14-year-old who's a little bit less experienced in life starts basically sparring with them, going back and forth with them. I don't need that to happen because what happens then is screenshots get taken, and then that's spread around everywhere. Look how the cast at this place treats their guests. I don't even want to think about that being a possibility. So again, apologies to those that may be offended by that. Please understand, okay? I would love nothing more than to bring it back to the way it used to be. But between COPA regulations and my knowledge of how things went in the past, I've got to stick to my guns here. Like I said 14 a minute ago, but I probably really did. I should have said probably 16 anyway. It's going to be a battle for me. I've got to figure out what the best is. And yeah, so A team, yeah, there you go. Here's some tough cookies to join. Look, they made a lie. Um, there could be an idea, Crazy says, for like 14 to 15-year-olds to be in a training so some can show their maturity as. So what I think what you're really trying to say there, Crazy, is that you would want them to mentor younger kids. That would be great if they had the time. It really would. Like, I get where you're going with that. In other words, like, take the 16 to 18 year olds and partner them up with maybe a 14 or 15 year old to kind of teach them the ropes and show them this is how you handle the guests, this is how you understand these. But the problem there is that means that person has the added stress of teaching all of that, like, of spending the time away from the guests and now on them. And EME was better than intern to me, but we made it intern. I liked EME because it was nomenclature that Disney uses. Anyway, so the goal is to. I don't want there to be so much work for the cast members like there was before. We had an entire volunteer staff of hundreds and hundreds of people, and they were stressed out because they were worked too hard. Now add to that they've got to train somebody because to be basically a young adult versus a child. Let this kid be a kid. Like, come on and enjoy yourself and watch your shows and have fun. Then when you're 16, come by when you've had a little bit more experience under your belt. All right, so let's go on to the next thing. Let's see, official channel. Any plans for an audio server? Yes. So I don't know how I'm going to handle it yet. I'm looking into alternative options. What I wanted to do early on was do audio servers years and years and years ago, but we ended up, like, the very first days we were using our resource pack. Then we used to have an audio pack which was separate from the resource pack, and then we finally figured out the audio thing. I think one of the issues there, well, I'll give you an example that one of the guests had said earlier. Are you going to make it so that people with slow computers will be able to play on your server? Well, a problem with running an audio server in the background means that person has to open a browser in order to listen. And as much as I love it, Chrome browser is the biggest memory hog in the world. And because of that, it means that anybody that's got an older computer, I didn't used to be able to do this. So I used to have to close Chrome in order to play Minecraft on my old computer. Even though I was running this big server, I still had that junky of computer that I couldn't even play my own server and listen to my own audio. Because the combination of Chrome and Minecraft killed it. So I need to look at alternatives. I need to look at ways that we can do it for everybody and do it in a way that isn't so memory hoggish. All right. So Flapjack asks, how strict is the staff hiring system going to be? Things like recommendations and stuff like that. I would like to do that, but see, I also have to take that these are volunteers. I'm not hiring them. I'm not paying them unless they're a developer. They're not being paid for what their work is. So why should I basically berate them, or like with a normal hiring, they can be kind of rude to people, trying to kind of trigger them or whatever. I've got to be respectful. These are people that are willing to volunteer, but I also have to look into their past. I've got to look into their history. I've got to look at their previous tweets. I've got to look at their social media. And that isn't doxing. That's because I need to make sure that somebody that's representing us is going to be doing so with the best face on. That's been controversial in the past, by the way. I'll say that. I look at current servers that exist today, and their social media, the people that are on their social media, they're dropping bombs everywhere, like swear bombs. And when I brought that up, those people have been like, well, it's their free speech rights, and it's okay for it because they're not directly representing the server. I'm like, it's literally in their info on their Twitter account. It specifically says that they work for you, so they're 100% representing you online. Like, people can see. No, not really, because like, that's their personal account, and so we don't do anything about. I'm like, oh my god. So I am different than that. I do hold you accountable if you're on cast. If you're going through, by the way, those of you that want to apply, there's something you do. Go over to Twitter right now and start deleting all those swear words because I'm not bringing you on. You know, like free speech is, yeah, exactly. It's only if the government's trying to take away your speech. That's what I love about when people are like, but how come I can't stand on the corner and scream about the book in my hand? Well, because you're screaming on a corner, it's private property. You're not allowed. But free speech, I'm like, that's not the government telling you. The person owns that corner, doesn't want you there. You have to leave. You know, like that's welcome to free speech, but not, yeah, anyway. So anyway, so yeah, please understand, I don't mean any, again, that's like with the kid thing. I don't mean disrespect, but I don't really want to bring somebody on if they're going to be swearing all over their social media publicly. If they've got a private account that they share with their family, I don't care about that. But if they're the public face and they're like on their info on their social media, it's like, cast member at Imagineers Club, and the next post is about F this or whatever. Ugh, God, I don't even like saying that. It's going to be a problem. So, yeah, just consider that. 18 recommendation for a browser. I'm on a Mac too, and I'm still using Chrome. I can't get away from my extensions, man. I got to have them. And I'm sorry, but Safari is just never going to catch up on that. So let's say audio packs have a lot of limited things, though, such as listening to audio if you made it late to a show, or Minecraft glitching and losing audio. So, Mr. Revolver, that has been fixed in what is called the synchronization. So there's, for instance, in MC Magic we actually had that, where if you arrived late for the show, if you start the audio and then go to the sign and right-click it, it'll synchronize your audio with the show, even if you've arrived late. All right, so... And Flapjack, I agree. Me personally, you and I may agree on this, but I think a lot of people disagree. But it's my own Twitter. I should be able to say what I want in it. God. Like, okay, say what you want, but you're not going to be a cast member because I can't have that representing me on the outside. Disney does the same thing in real life. If you've got an account and you're like, hey, I'm a friend of Snow White at Disney, and so, but also F the president, like, or something, like, they're going to have a problem with that. They're going to stop you from representing them. And then in doing so, probably excuse you from the parks as well for a little while. Be like, you got to go. Like you've caused a big problem here with we have to deal with. Like, you get to walk away from it, but we're the ones that have to deal with it. And that was my issue. Like, I had to deal with that when people in the past representing MC Magic would go onto other servers and start drama. Well, that person didn't have to deal with all the talking down that I got from that server owner. He'd be like, dude, what is wrong with your people that they got to come over here and do this? So first of all, I'm trying to explain to this person that, hey, I didn't send them over there, which they didn't believe. Then I'm like, but on top of that, I fully take responsibility, and so they would just berate me and just let me have it, and I'm fine with that because it's been my thing for years. Like, I'm okay being the punching bag as long as you guys are happy. You know what I mean? Like, as an adult, I can handle it. It's just I don't want to have to handle it on a daily or weekly basis. I'd rather every now and then, sure, I can handle, but my God, like so many times I'd have to deal with other things, yeah, and it would just add to it. All right, so my school does the same thing with social media, so good, that's good. I believe social media could really exemplify how a person really acts, and it's the most accurate way to find a person's level of maturity. Wouldn't say the most accurate, but Fenzi, but I would say that it's a very... Some people still put on a facade when it comes to their social media, but the majority of people are going to be honest on a wider range of social media. So you may have a different face on it on Twitter than you do on Instagram, than you do on, let's say, Snapchat. And by the way, Snapchat's a good example of I'm not adding any of you, first of all. But Snapchat's a good example of private social media that I really can't do a lot about. And also, if you screenshot somebody on there, or if you screenshot a conversation on there, the other person sees that it's been screenshotted, so you're kind of warning them that you're about to tattle on them. You know what I mean? Like, so I would just say don't talk about him. The Imagineers stuff on social media or on Snapchat. That's all I would say about that. So let's go further. We got Believe social media server I work on has a policy that says drama and hate will not be tolerated anywhere. You're a representative of the server no matter where you are, and that is absolutely true, NS Gaming. That's the same way that I've always done it, and the same way I'll continue to do it. Just Platinum says, will you branch out to the other parks and areas like a Florida project? Justin, Just Platinum, unfortunately, no. I'm going to stick with Walt Disney World because believe me, even as MC Magic, we never finished. In 5 years, we never even we didn't even get half of what was supposed to be built done. We just can't. That's so we are 100% focused on getting the full Magic Kingdom, or excuse me, Walt Disney World done this time. Everything from Disney Springs to both water parks to every single resort to the solar panel array that's out in the middle of nowhere. Everything will be done. So, A Team asks, will old staff also have the same advantage as the? Well, most of the old staff over there is the same as MC Magic as well, so probably. But here's the problem. I 100. This goes back to what I said earlier about characters too. I am not about stealing people, and I'm not trying to cause any kind of division. I opened up my Discord to all the members of the other palace and everybody else. Opened it up to everybody because I wanted to kind of like olive branch. Hey, like I want you guys to see, and I want transparency, whatever else. But in no way am I asking any of their cast, or excuse me, mods or whatever they're called over there. No way am I asking any of them to come over here. If anybody does anything, it's on their own accord. I am not going to be asking them to do that because I don't want to cause strife in the community. Please see my two most recent tweets about that, including the thread that I told everybody to look at. There's a belief in the gaming community that somehow you should all be divided because you're doing similar things, and that's just dumb. So anyway, let's see. NS Gaming here, same here. Server I work on, yep. Pinvox, since you say you plan on building every resort, will all the rooms be available to book, and will there be a role play possibility in the server? So Pinvox, yes on both. That was another thing that bugged me, that we were a little bit too. We shouldn't have been so mean to people about. I mean, the whole point of the magic of Disney and coming on in Minecraft should be about enjoying roleplay. Just don't get weird about it. Be like, mommy, mommy, mommy. Like, that's a little bit, like, creepy or whatever. But, like, the roleplay thing, like, you and your family came to the parks and are enjoying yourself, that should be welcomed on the servers. So, yeah, I'm never going to be banning that again. I will talk to people who get a little bit weird with it, but I won't be banning it because it should absolutely be allowed. For the course thing at Walt Disney World, Nick asks, will that actually be usable once it's built? Yes, and I already had a way built that it was working before I left MC Magic. We had a way where you could actually take, we were using, I think, snow blocks, or the snowballs, and then they would sit on the ground, and you could actually throw them at the hole in the golf course, and it would land in the hole, and the hole had a pressure plate in it, so that when the snowball hit the pressure plate, it would actually be it would recognize it as a hole. That was already done before, and we never finished it. So I already have the tech done. I just got to get the golf courses built. If I had to make one other Disney resort in the world for the server, you really want to create just Platinum. I think that would be Shanghai Disneyland. It looks to be the most gorgeous and fun-filled and detailed park out of all of them right now. A-Team says it got to a point where I need to leave because how busy I've gotten, blah, 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 but I may get back into it in November. We'll see. That would be nice. Yeah, we welcome you. Pinbox says agreed. It's weird that people do dating in Minecraft. Yeah, that I think that was kind of part of the creepiness, but it was also that, like, they were there was like baby play, and baby play is just, that's not role playing. That's just weird. So. Alright, so moving on. Creative server, yeah, fortunately we created no pun intended, a separate chat for roleplay on there because people were getting a little bit too carried away. Hey Ducky, you want to show that? Oh, well, you know what, let's, well here, I want to show you some other stuff then while we're building up some more questions. Hey look, there's some different levels of land, see, and different levels of stuff. More different levels of land there that go down to the water. More different levels here. So, oh yeah, where are we at? So this is the hub, and I would normally be standing in front of Walt and Mickey right here, and then that would be the castle. This would be the stage. That would be the castle right here. So let's go see what the castle looks like when it's non-existent. See? You got all the turrets built around it. And then here's Tomorrowland. I'm using my compass to fly around just to get into everything. And so you would know that this is, so I've got the height and everything for Space Mountain. My brain is dead, man. It's been a long day. Look at the levels of this here for the gate or the cars. I can't think straight. My brain is dead. Anyway, so the racetrack. So when you come around and see the levels go up now, I've got to figure this out because these are single blocks. But yeah, and then of course right here we talked about this earlier. I was like, well, you know, when we get back there, I'll show you all of this. This right here is going to have to be shortened again. For the third time in history, this car track is going to have to be shortened right here in order for Tron to go all in this area here. Basically, all this is going to be Tron back here. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Moving on. There's the teacups are right here. And, of course, you can see the beginnings of the Seven Doors Mine Train. Oop, I'm underground. Let's see, there's Fantasyland. At least the beginnings of part of it. Actually, that's kind of like the end of Fantasyland and the beginning of, yeah. So like this would be the carousel, in other words, for Fantasyland. Let me see if, I gotta see if this works. Ah, poop. It's there. So why isn't it letting me? Oh, you know why? Because I have to do server. Yeah. Because it thinks I'm trying to do server, but I have those servers turned off. Wah, wah. Oh well. So yeah, I do. I've already. I mean, the servers. I've already got my warps and everything started, and yeah. Oh, levels of land. Good example again. So this is the platform for getting onto the steamboat, but notice the bottom platform is there as well. The levels are here. Levels are over here next to the Haunted Mansion walkway, which, by the way, there's that. And yeah, all of this is like, I can't wait to get all this done. There's a lot of work to do, as you can see. So yeah, I have a ton of stuff I still need to do, a ton of stuff I still need to accomplish. But I have it all laid out, you know, like it's all ready to go. Yeah, like these are the buildings I just did recently that I wanted to get the height on. So actually this one has to come down, but I built it up as high as this. This is the, of course, where, you know, the Mickey meet and greet and everything is, and of course the Italian restaurant right here. But yeah, the levels of these buildings are way more. Oh, by the way, look how nice that looks, the City Hall sign now. Didn't look that good before. These levels are all more realistic as well, comparatively to the past. And to give you an example of realism, this really is. So I'm going to build all the Alps up here, but this stairwell exists in real life, and it fits now, and there, you can actually be on the second floor of this building. There were some other issues in the past where you couldn't, like this one too. Actually, I'm downstairs. Oh my gosh. There we go. So I'm upstairs in this building. There's plenty of room up here. As a matter of fact, I put all this black in here. I can get rid of all that black. But this is the that was the upstairs for the Chamber of Commerce, and the other one before that was the City Hall. And then, of course, I put the light in the window. But yeah, so the upstairs above the fire station. There we go. I'm inside of the apartment here, which would have been either Walt's or Roy's apartment. And look, see if I was parkouring. Let's say I was a guest, I could be like, woo, and I'm just over the edge here, and here I am backstage. Because I'm allowing that. Because God forbid, what are they going to break? Oh no. And you know what's going to happen? Watch. So here's what's going to happen. People are going to start destroying all their barrier blocks, because I already said it, before I ever even get a chance to release my park. They're going to be like, hey, we got a new thing. We just wanted to let you guys know we've opened up the parks, and now you don't have to worry about barriers anymore. I'll be like, yeah, where'd you get that idea there, smarty? Huh? Huh? Where'd you hear about that from? Where'd you think of that? Huh? How long? Oh no, we've been thinking about it a long time. Yeah. Sure. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Just remember, you heard it here first. That barrier blocks have got to go. They're the dumbest idea in that. Ugh. I don't know. I keep saying that. Like I keep saying that. Then I'm just ranting and raving about it. Oh, anyway. All right. So let's go to questions again. What A-Team said, it'd be cool to incorporate lightning and thunder based on how it is in Florida. Now the rides will close and announcements. I mean, that would be funny, but it wouldn't be fun because remember, you know, what if it's a specific time when some kid can't ride his ride any other time, and all he's hearing is a bunch of clapping thunder everywhere? I don't want to. I don't want to ruin the magic for somebody else just to make a couple people happy. Um, let's see, we go. As long as there's a weather app, will SOTMK fully work? I mean, everything is going to work as close as realistic as possible. Are you planning Disney Cruise Line again? Pinvock? Maybe. Nautical Craft was nice. They were an amazing partner, and I miss Charles. It was sad to that we sort of broke up. Rip. But I think we need to focus on Walt Disney World and let the people that build ships build their ships. Like we have enough on our plate to deal with this. So, all right, where are we at? Oh wow, have we really been streaming for like 2 hours? Maybe you guys can tell me what is the length of time we've been going at? Hold on a minute, let me see. 1 hour and 51 minutes. Holy mackerel! That's awesome. I love it. Do you guys have any more questions regarding my builds or the parks or the future? Because I may start to wrap this up. Yeah, at 1 minute 52. That's a long time. I didn't expect to be on even this long, actually. I was hoping to do it in like an hour, hour and a half. I love that the time went by quickly though, because we got a lot of information out, and the stream when it's saved on the channel is going to be great. All right, so yeah, time does fly when you're having fun. Oh man, I can't wait to get all this done and get it to be able to share this with everybody. Like that's what's bugging me is not being able to share this with anybody yet. And so the other day I tried, and then somebody's like, oh, "Ducky was sharing it with everybody," and God, like, meh. So it's like tried to get me in trouble basically. But I'm like, it's my personal server. It's not a. I'm not making money off this. This isn't whatever. So yeah, I got to be careful now. I can't allow anybody to come on and kind of check it out just as a test, which is all I was doing. But whatever. Nobody wants to hear that. This is what bothers me, by the way. The new sign doesn't have the population on it anymore. Rip. Do you think Magic Kingdom will be mostly done when the server actually opens? Nick, that is my goal. To have it completely built and then to have most every ride rideable. It's going to be tough, but I think I can do it. Will you be joining your Discord call after this? I might, but I need to step away, probably grab myself something to drink. I know I need to charge my phone, and I got to find my charger because I had brought it to Disney yesterday. And I have to put some food away that's been sitting out for too long. So, yeah, I'll try to be in, though, for a little bit. I also have a meeting in the morning at like 10 a.m., so I can't be on too late. All right. Hey, team, I love doing all this. He said, oh, do I enjoy doing all this? Like all of this? Every bit of this. The streaming right now, the playing on the server, the building, the weird minutiae of running a server like this, which essentially means running a park like this. Like there is a lot I love about. I love little stupid things like finding this and sitting in Photoshop and clearing out all the little areas like the handle and so on, and the bottom little nubs, and creating that like realistic looking, just like it is there, or going into Photoshop and doing that sign, or finding that an image perfect enough that these fit on there really well, or going through and build. All of this is built by me, like this 3D, like taking that and building that model in 3D. All of these stupid little things that build up to, and it's all different levels of technique slash experience. You know, setting every block. Yeah, all of it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Where did you see a barrier in us gaming? There shouldn't be a barrier. Just remind me where you thought you just saw it, because I want to see. Oh, you mean this? Rip. Yeah, I guess I'm busted, aren't I? You can't get through that sign. Oh no. Wait, actually, when I'm, let's see. Right, ready? Let me just walk. Oh look, I went right over it. Technically, yeah. So there's a difference between barriers to keep people out of things and barriers that just utilized as a block that helps out. That would be a block that helps out. But look, I can still run. Oh, and go right over it. Oh wow, see, I'm yawning now. Oh, here's a thing too. So under this, in the, let's see, where did my, what? What? Oh, right. So this is my trash can essentially. So if I, let me see, I need to find a redstone. Do, 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 which is there. Wow, that's how tired I am. I just did that. So let's go here. I have to. All right, so now it's running. So if I right click, see it says trash can, and I just take those stairs and put them in there, and then go away, and then I go back in. Ah, you jerk! Why are you running? It's not running. Why is it not running? Oh, always active. That should work, right? Ah, see, I already broke it. So this was working before, where basically I would throw things away in the trash can, um, and yeah, had it working because I wanted to be able to have trash cans without the signs on them. Because oh gosh, I hated those signs; they were so ugly. And then you can't put an image on a trash can for that or whatever. So I have to figure that out again later. Ugh. How are you going to do a hub? TTC. I'm bringing back the traditional there. Yeah, I mean, that's where you normally would come in. I just have to figure out. My thing is I want it to feel. I don't want you just popped into the center there like they, because you've also got. There have been a lot of changes at TTC recently. You know, like that's where you're scanned for security now, for instance. So I gotta kind of put all that into perspective and figure out how I want to do all that. Um, who was that asking, by the way? That was Francis Potato. No, I want TTC. Well, I guess you know when the server first opens, MK may be the spawn point, but then TTC will be built because it's got to be. When it was originally built, TTC and MK and the Polynesian and the Contemporary were all built essentially to be finished at exactly the same time. So goal wise, I'd love to do that. I just don't think I'm going to be able to. Actually, matter of fact, give you an idea of like, yeah. So let's get past all the bus station here. And go over here because oh hey, what's that? Yeah, so some of it's been readied and whatever, but you know that's a lot. It's so much work. I'm gonna do my best to have everything open. I guess that's bottom line. That's what I'm talking about. We have buses teleporting you to parks. The old server had like one or two buses. Yeah, I liked. So what we did is we had two buses at the or three buses at the TTC that would take you to the park you're supposed to go to. And potentially you would arrive on the bus at the park you were going to. My goal was to have those everywhere. I made templates of those buses and pasted them elsewhere in the map so that people could take from them and go into another map or go into another server and paste them in and utilize them. Oh, everywhere. I wanted buses to like we were just in like a second ago, like over here. I wanted them all in there too. Like I wanted buses pulled into there, ready to take people where they needed to go from that. They just never got done. So essentially, this server is going to be a lot of things that we never got done originally, and hopefully we'll do better this time. All right, what else we got here before I get out? How about using the highways for? I don't remember what that's for. Creative server. Everybody keeps asking about a creative server. That is going to be a tough one. because of the level of moderation that takes. Whether or not that's going to open, Will Mylar is asking that. Whether or not that's going to open when we first open, how soon after opening will it be available, if there will be one. It may be a few months. I don't know yet. I've got to see how things run when I first get this up and running. You know, like how well this is going to go, and then we'll judge based on that whether or not it'll be feasible to run that. Oh, is that what I did? So somebody else must have like changed it or something when I had people on the other day. Or is that what happened rather? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Let me try it. So it was so go chain, you said? No, because it was, I thought it was on, yeah, repeat. That's what I had it on, I believe. Let me try that. Maybe that's what I did wrong. There it is. Boink, 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 boink. My trash can works. Boink, boink. Oh, God, that's so beautiful. Isn't that great, though, too? I'm doing the shift click, too, by the way, which I don't think you could do on the old one. So I could just basically throw anything I want in that trash can. And it works. And that's the other problem, is I don't like that sound. So I don't know if that's going to be resource pack based. I don't know. And then, of course, the hitbox, that's another problem. Whether or not I can get rid of, I think if I, so like, yeah, if I do that, obviously, but that's my F1 key. I don't know if guests, I don't think guests would be able to see the hitbox, though, would they? If they're not able to edit a block, I don't know. I've got to look into that. But yeah, these are my favorite trash cans because you can actually, you know what I mean? Like you're actually using the trash can. So yeah, that's what I'm wondering now in random because that's normally what the case is in a Minecraft server. Oh my God, my eyes are tearing up because I'm tired. I do have to get going here in a minute, guys. So this has been fun though. Wow, there's still 36 people watching. That's amazing. Wonder how many of them are just watching to spy. I hope you guys really did enjoy this, though, by the way. This was a lot of fun for me, I know that. I am going to go to sleep soon. I do have a few things I need to do before I go to bed. Oh, that's still my dinner chasing me. Oh, look, yeah, even in here. Oh, look at this. Look, I'm so dumb that, look, I even have the locker, like, look, the sign. Anyway, this is how dumb I am that I get excited when I build a locker room. Oh, and the new lockers, look how much more detailed that is compared to the old ones. The old ones you couldn't even read that. And by the way, I made them 42 on purpose because answer to life, the universe, and everything. For those of you nerds and, yeah, that get that reference from the book. So yeah, they're all locker 42, especially because, well, I've got to get rid of the particles too. That's another issue. Oh, wait, you haven't seen the other ones. Here's my other, this is actually a regular chest. And then, let me just, here is a single chest. So those will, yeah, and then that, and then that. Those are going to be good for, they don't look good when you stack them like that, but they're going to be good for, decoration / whatever. And then these are good for, because a lot of side areas or whatever behind cast member areas have all these kind of cabinets or whatever for storage and whatnot. See, as a matter of fact, I think I'm missing one over here. So there you go. Yeah, just thought I'd show those off for a second. But let's go back to the chat real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything important. By transparency, will you alert if someone hacked the server and made themselves owner? That sounds like a dare. So I will say that transparency goes in line with what we do with your money, how we're running the server, how well we're doing, how many people have come on. But when it comes to security issues, it's kind of like trolls. The more attention you give them, the more attention they're going to give you. So I don't want to give anybody any kind of props or respect or whatever that LOL they just took over the server for a minute. They don't get that kind of publicity from me because it's not deserved. That's not the kind of transparency that we're looking for. We're looking for the kind of transparency where the people trust us, and I'll give you an example that I've given in the past for cast members and such. When you go to the parks, you don't walk up to the security guard and go, "Hey, man, when's the last time you pulled your gun out on somebody?" Or "Hey, who'd you guys arrest today and what was it for?" Literally, no security guard ever in the history of Disney is going to tell you, because that's not. It's none of your business, first of all. But beyond that, that kind of ruins the magic. You're not there to find out about why the security guard's arresting people. You're there to enjoy the rides, watch the shows, meet some like that's he's there to do his job. You're there to enjoy yourself. Don't worry about what he's doing. He's not going to tell you that. There's no publicly available arrest history record for Disney parks anywhere either. So just, we're not going to be releasing. Bottom line there is we're not going to be releasing or giving pride to any trolls or hackers. Which, by the way, didn't happen on MC Magic, and I'm not saying that because I don't want them to be known. That literally never happened. We were actually very lucky. We had a really good team, and everybody combined kept that server safe. We never had a time when anybody got control of that server and destroyed it, ever, in our history, for the 5+ years that we existed. I'm just looking through the comments again one last time before I head off. Easter eggs, there will be aplenty. Yes, indeed, NS Gaming. Let's see, putting a game on A. We're coming back. Let's see. I'm trying to go through. Oh, it looks like I caught up on everything. Hey, I caught everything. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. We've got 2 hours and 6 minutes and 52 seconds. Granted, I'll go longer than that in giving my goodbyes. But I really, truly want to thank all of you guys very, very much for coming on tonight and joining me for this little bit. What is that? Rob Plays will be back. Yes, actually, as a matter of fact, keep an eye out this week. Rob Plays will likely be joining our Discord. So if you want to know about that, hey, Rory, you're a little late, but good to see you. Or you just didn't talk all the time. I do want to thank you guys once again, though. I'm looking so forward to bringing all of this back to you guys again, to offering something of this caliber to everyone and sharing it with the world. I'm not doing this for ego. I'm not doing this for anything but you guys. It's because I love yous, I miss yous, and I really want to see this happen again. I feel like there's a big hole in the family safe server community that deserves a chance again. And I think we can all do that together. So I hope you guys will continue to join me. I'll do some other streams here soon. I'll definitely be on the Discord, so you can feel free to contact me there. And hey, Joe Cool, if Hellipo decides that she wants to come back and hang out with us, she is always more than welcome, as is pretty much everybody. Because let's be honest, this is all about forgiveness right now, is it not? All right, guys, I really appreciate it, and we will see you again very, very soon. Take care, and have a good night.